Hello everybody. Today's video I'm going to be talking about what are hormones and how do they work. In our channel we talk a lot about how the body functions, and we focus on conditions where there is abnormal function. Hormones are really important when you're talking about the functioning of the body, and that's why we're looking at this topic today. My name is Dr. Sylvia and this is Askawayhealth, the channel where we provide you with clarity and direction on everything medical. I hope you like and consider subscribing to our channel, but for now, let's get into it. Okay, so hormones are chemicals produced by the body, specifically by organs in the body called glands, which make up the endocrine system. From where they are normally produced, hormones may travel to other parts of the body where they would usually exert their effects. So hormones control the function of those organs where they exert their effects, essentially transmitting messages to them, telling them when to carry out a particular function and what function to carry out. So that tells us that hormones are quite essential in the work that they carry out in the body, and that when there is an abnormality in that particular work, no matter how small, it can cause some significant problems. So why don't we look at some of the functions that hormones actually carry out in the body. They can control the heart rate and changes to the body's temperature. They can affect a person's metabolism and appetite, and so control weight loss and weight gain. They can also affect a person's sleep pattern or sleep cycles. They are key in managing the reproductive cycle, both for men and for women. In addition to controlling sexual function, they also control general growth and development from childhood all the way up to adulthood. And also importantly, they can control or affect the mental state, impacting on mood, anxiety and stress levels. So hormones are important. So let's talk about how do hormones work in the body. A hormone is usually specific to certain types of tissue or organs. So that means that when a hormone is produced and released to travel around the body, its effect will be exerted specifically on that organ or that tissue or tissues that it is programmed to function on. So practically, the action of the hormone is like a message, it's like the delivery of a message being sent from the brain to control that particular action in other parts of the body. So the hormone is essentially bearing and delivering the message that needs to be conducted from the brain, the center, to other parts of the body where activities are carried out. So for example, today, looking at how hormones function, let's look at a particular hormone that's produced in women and that we know is useful in the process of childbirth and breastfeeding. It's called oxytocin. So oxytocin is an interesting hormone that is produced in the part of the brain that's called the hypothalamus. Research has shown us that oxytocin is known to be produced during sexual activity, during childbirth and during breastfeeding. During childbirth, we know that oxytocin is produced at the appropriate time during labor to allow the womb to contract and encourage the fetus, the baby, to come out. But oxytocin being produced also encourages the production of other hormones called prostaglandins, which also help the womb's contraction ability and the birth of the baby. As a result of the property of oxytocin being able to help in contraction of the womb, artificial oxytocin, that's manufactured oxytocin, is actually used during the final stage or the third stage of labor to help the womb further contract and release the placenta after the baby has been delivered. Another function of oxytocin is during breastfeeding, where it is stimulated, or when it's produced and allows milk to flow from the milk ducts into the nipple of the mum when the baby is being fed, when the baby latches onto the breast, or even when the mum hears the baby crying. That sound triggers a reflex in the woman that causes oxytocin to be released and direct for milk flow to come from the ducts into the nipple for breastfeeding. Now, oxytocin is also produced in men, and it plays an important role in the movement of sperm, so helping sperm to move, mobility of sperm, and in the production of testosterone by the testes. So this is an important function of oxytocin in the reproductive cycle for men. Recently, studies have shown that there's another way that oxytocin functions. More recently, studies have indicated that oxytocin levels go up during consensual sexual activity or periods of intimacy, and it generates the warm feelings that we associate with intimacy with a loved, significant partner, and so it's also known as the love hormone or the cuddle chemical. So that's a look at how one particular hormone works, and that's just one example. There's several hormones all around the body, but it tells you about how a hormone that's produced in the brain goes to influence things like the womb in childbirth, or the production of or the release of milk during breastfeeding. It is involved in helping sperm to move, and it's involved in helping other chemicals, other hormones in their production, for example prostaglandins in women, or for during labor, or in producing testosterone from the testes. And of course we've looked at its more recent function in terms of doing intimate, creating warm feelings or feelings of intimacy during consensual sexual activity. So that's just an example about how hormones work, and I think it's important because if there is a problem with the production of a hormone, then you can see how body functions can change, can create medical conditions, and I think it's useful to have a look at that to understand this aspect of our health. Okay, so that video introduces us to future videos where we're going to be talking about hormone imbalances, so please watch out for that because it will be coming soon to the channel. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for being with me today. As you always, I appreciate your time. My name is Dr. Sylvia. Happy to hear from you. Welcome comments. If you have a specific inquiry, feel free to send us an email. I will post our contact details and our links within the description underneath this video. Don't forget to share the video, like it, and consider subscribing to our channel. And as usual, it's Askawayhealth, where we provide you with clarity and direction about everything medical. And I'll see you in the